Welcome to GlobeTrotter. I'm Jon Haggins, and I'm sitting here with Kristal Hart, who has the Kristal Hart Show here at MNN, and she does a wonderful job. And she's traveled all around the world. And today we're going to talk about Morocco, because she just returned from Morocco, and there was just so many incredible things that she experienced for the first time going to an African country. So let's talk about Africa. And Morocco, of all places.
Morocco, Northern Africa. Actually, I went to Rabat, which is the capital.
Yes.
I flew in from JFK, went to Casablanca, then I took a train to Rabat. And the train, I must say, I felt like I was in a Steven Spielberg movie, because for some reason it had the orange and the gray it just had a feel about it. So I ended up going up to Rabat, and once again, the capital.
Right. And you met a family. You met a family through actually the internet, Facebook, and they were so generous, and they were very friendly and very warm, and that's what's really remarkable about the people of Morocco.
That is so true. I am probably a social media junkie, mainly because I'm editing here at MNN, and you know how many hours it takes to edit. So I am on social media, and my show's on social media. So I met up with a family, and they were really grieving. They had the oldest son had just recently passed away.
Oh.
So that's how the relationship was built. So it was sort of a solid relationship, because it dealt with a lot of, as I said, grief. So I said, I'm going to go. I had a birthday coming up, and I'm going to go to this tomb to
Celebrate your birthday.
Well, to celebrate my birthday, yes, but to also to meet this family, because I was just so engaged, always in a conversation. Even though it was conversation, you know, they speak Arabic, so it was all through Google Translator. Everything was translated that way, but it was sort of a courageous step. But I also had a hotel, and I figured if everything goes wrong, I brought a lot of work. I have 4 shows to edit, and I'll just lock myself in my hotel room, and I just won't go out. Maybe I'll go to the pool. But that did not happen.
You were out all the time.
I was out all the time, and this family was so loving. I have not been loved like this since my mother passed away in 1999. And all the neighbors came to see the American. Her Fatima, who was the mother, her sister and whole family came down from Ben Lehman, and then we went up there one day, and just food and celebration. Food.
Oh,
we
my
must
God.
talk food.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Let's talk about the food. I mean, it was just so amazing.
First off, is Fridays is couscous
Yes.
day. You know, first time I ever ate with my hands, okay? So that was an experience of its own, and this was just a big bowl.
Family style.
Family style, and everybody would sit around a table, and there was breads. We had pizza one night. We had fish. Just, you know, every night it was something. The tea, the way they would pour the tea, and of course they did use a little sugar, which I said, oh, put the sugar on the side and add it later.
Yeah.
But the food was just,
Did you have pigeon pie, by the way?
You know, I didn't have that, but I will say that I feel that one of the things that the family unit is very strong there, and everybody came together and to eat, and that was part of the entertainment of what everybody in the household and all the other people around, you know, that's sort of what the entertainment was.
Right.
Of course, and they had the mosque and their religious ceremonies.
Where they pray 5 times a day.
Yes, they do pray.
Yeah, which is wonderful. You know, it's a whole part of their culture, and it's, you know, it's something that you go into and you learn about all these wonderful people, and you learn about their culture, you learn about their cuisine, you learn about their traditions. It's just a wonderful exchange. And you also had the opportunity of going to Marrakesh, because I said, you've got to go to Marrakesh. And El Fana, that huge market there.
This is from Marrakesh, okay? And of course, my little sparkly purse and
the beautiful things.
It's the city of motorcycles, so when you're there, there's a lot of like winding roads.
Right.
So motorcycles go everywhere. Yes, everywhere are these motorcycles. I rode a camel.
Right.
Okay.
First time.
The first time I was ever on a camel. I had a monkey, 2 monkeys on me, and the one on the one side was like sort of heavy, okay? So he like had not missed a meal. I'm gonna tell you that. I had a snake around my neck. But at one point I was like, get the snake off.
Wait a second, was that in Marrakesh?
Yes, it was.
Oh my God. Because you've got the snake charmers, you've got the drag queens, you've got the Arabic, the not aerobics, what do you call the aerobatic people, whatever you call them.
Yeah, and at night, all the drummers come out,
Right.
and
And the
they're
food.
all drumming, and the food. And I also found alcohol, believe it or not. You know, where
Really?
there is a will, there is a way.
You gotta have your beer.
Yes. As a matter of fact, that was a very busy place because I was not the only person looking for alcohol.
Oh, really?
Yes. So, but so many souks
Yes.
with just, you know, little dishes and soaps and teas and vapors that can clear your nose and as I said,
perfumes.
oh yes, this, you know, the funny part, and for all my theater friends, this is actually for a pillow. So many fabrics, and you know, at one point, I put it up on Facebook for all my theater friends. I had on Off-Broadway choreographed Kismet, and what they did with the scarves and how they could wrap you up and do the hair and the head. I said, you know, maybe it's time to redo that show. It was just amazing. Oh, and carpets. Oh my gosh,
And you bought two.
I bought 2 from Mohammed. I said, Mohammed, you could sell an Eskimo ice. This was after, you know, we were actually leaving to get back to the train to take us back to Rabat.
Right.
But I had bought a little prayer rug and a Quran. And then the gentleman said, oh no, we're going to show you the old section
Right.
of Morocco. So on this little tour, I ended up in this carpet gallery. And a matter of fact, there were other carpets I wanted to buy. I live in a very small Manhattan apartment. So actually the one that I really wanted, because it's salmon, because the city is salmon.
Right.
All the buildings, or not all the buildings, are.
But it's known as a salmon city or the pink city.
And they're
Right.
all handmade by the women.
Oh, yes.
Beavers? Is it?
Well, I don't know. They have these. I mean, it's amazing how their fingers are so limber. They can do all these little intertwinings and, you know, weaving of all these wonderful things. But I wrote an article many years ago called "Every Road Leads to a Carpet Shop," because no matter where you go, somebody's selling you a carpet, and it's really amazing.
And they said that women make the carpets because we're more patient.
Yeah, and
How do you
limber
like that?
fingers, smaller fingers too.
And smaller fingers.
Yeah.
So yes, and you know, I took one home with me, and then the other one I had delivered, and you know, it was delivered right on time. They flew it. A matter of fact, they flew it out of Casablanca, and it was here like within a day and a half. And
Amazing.
In perfect, I must say, condition. So it was just, you know, it's a joy every day when I look at them. So.
Oh, sure, and bring back great memories. My God, that whole experience. You said you're going to go back at some point.
I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back with a really second big suitcase. This time I took one big suitcase and then maybe a littler one. Well, no, because I went Royal Air Morocco, and you're allowed 2 large suitcases plus your carry-on. So I'm going to take full
You're
advantage.
going to maximize it.
Yes, because
and shop.
yes.
That's fantastic. I mean, Morocco, to me, is such an amazing place. I mean, I started down in Agadir, and then we drove through the Atlas Mountains. And what I thought was so amazing was the fact that the driver, I said to him, gee, I want to stop and have some of that roadside food, because I said, I can eat roadkill, nothing bothers me. So anyway, I stopped, and the guy whacked off a lamb chop, put it on the grill, and he had wax paper and some vegetables or whatever and bread. It was the best, absolutely the best I've ever had. Then we went on to Marrakesh, and from there up to Fez, and Fez was an amazing destination.
That's my next point.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about food, when we were in Ben Sleman, there was this, they had made a meal for me, and it was the lamb with prunes, just to
Sure,
die for.
there weren't dates?
No, it's the
It was
prunes,
prunes. Oh,
yeah, and
okay.
it was just wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, as a matter of fact, up there we played a little soccer with some of the children. We had a really, it was King Mohammed VI's celebration of a birthday, so they had a big fair, and there were racing bumper cars, and they absolutely adore King Mohammed VI. He's very
Oh.
popular with his people.
Right.
Yes.
And Muhammad is very, very popular in terms of a name.
Oh, and we went also to the cemetery where, his father and
His grandfather and so forth.
and everyone was buried. Yes, that
right.
was just absolutely.
And the picture that you took behind us is from what? What is that called?
The kibosh of the Judaeus? Judaeus.
Oh, okay.
Kashbash.
The Kasbah.
Kashba, yes.
Yes, the Kasbah.
Yes. And I guess it was, it's on the water, and at one time, I don't
this
know
is
if it
in
was
Rabat.
actually, yes, this is in Rabat, if it was a fort or, people then lived there, and now it's a grounds where where people go and visit. They had concerts there. I had the henna put on my hands,
Oh,
which,
lovely.
yes, but the one thing about that is I thought you would just like wash it off, like,
It has to wear off.
yeah, and it takes a while. It takes a while. Let me tell you, that was one thing I learned. And
But beautiful gardens.
yes, and beautiful gardens. I took a lot of photographs there. I went in April. My birthday is April 20th, so I went from the 20th to the 28th. So that was, it wasn't too hot, it wasn't too cold. Very nice
Perfect weather.
Yes,
yeah.
it
Oh,
was.
wonderful. That is so fantastic. And I can't wait until you go back and tell me all about what's going on there now, in terms of your new experiences, and also going to Fez, which is another destination
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to this wonderful family
Yeah.
that I speak with almost every day.
Yeah.
We get in contact with, and that was probably the best part of the whole trip was the whole family, the family life, and the neighbors, and there was a little fear, which John, I will say, I don't know if he helped on that, because being a Westerner going, this is my first visit to an Arab country, and there's politically a lot's going on, and John would say, the pot,
They're going to boil you in the pot.
They're going to boil me in the pot. But that didn't quite happen.
I was joking, obviously.
I know.
But it was. But I'm just so glad you had the experience, and more people need to get out and travel, because there's so much to see, And Morocco is a very, very special destination that I think that everybody should venture out and go through the country, from Tangier all the way down south, and also go to the mountains as well, the deserts, because there's so many different aspects of the country.
Yes. I was there for 8 days, so I probably needed a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yes, and I could have easily.
Yeah, and also the trains are so accessible, as you were saying, going from one city to another, although I was driven from one to another, but to be able to get on a train, a public train, and to go and transport yourself from one place to another is fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, until your next trip, my dear, off to Morocco. I love to say Morocco. Morocco is so fantastic. We'll be right back. Chasing Wild Ass. Oh, it's not what you're thinking. It's all about my travel around the world. I have interspersed photos and recipes to whet your appetite and allow you to dream and discover and rediscover these faraway destinations. The title came about while we were in Koch Wild Ass Sanctuary chasing jackasses in Gujarat, India. Chasing wild ass is food for the soul. It's adventure, it's history, it's culture, it's culinary, and it's a lifestyle. Chasing wild ass will entertain you and massage your soul. It's a celebration of life. You have to live every moment as if it's your last. My world is your world, so remember, get up, get out, and travel! We're back. I'm Jon Haggins, and I'm sitting here with my best friend, Petsilas, and he was the director for the Greek tourist office, and now he's just enjoying life. And we're going to share some of the great experiences, because he was responsible for our trip when we went to Greece the first time, and it was just an amazing experience through Ypres and Rhodes and Simi.
Sometimes you have to say it. But in our career, through our profession, you meet people and you admire so much and you respect their job, and then you become friends.
Absolutely.
And that happened between us.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's always pleasure and an honor to meet you and talk about
Greece.
travel, Greece, and experiences.
Yes.
Because your personality, I can say you're a marathon man of travel. Yes, it's true. From your writing, you're an author. How many trips? You've been in all continents, and you had great experience. And I hope we did on the past, and I know you've been recently again to Greece. Your experience in our country to be a nice one.
Yes, and also good friends in every port, like in Rhodes and in Athens and so forth, because of you, and it's just so wonderful, you know.
But I was impressed these days, and today I read something, I have to say a few words,
Okay.
which they impressed me, and it's from PBS. Because they were extraordinary people born on white rock and blue sea.
How fabulous.
They invented democracy, distilled logic and reason, wrote plays to plumb the deepest recesses of the soul, and capture the perfection of human form in athletics and art. National Geographic has put together a 3-part series on Greeks from ancient roots to present day, and it's from June 21 to July 5th. Then
Fabulous.
it's, except you do, and other people, they present our country in a very nice form.
Well, there's so much history in Greece, you know, and it's just so, it's so amazing. I mean, it just, you talk about travel and going back to a place and you see it differently from the first time that you were there or the next time. And each time you go, you see something different. And not only the history, the cuisine, because if you travel, you got to eat. And, you know, you've got the Great Sea, you know, the Aegean Sea, you've got all of this, the Mediterranean Sea as well. It's just such a fabulous destination that you can't get enough of. And we were in Ypres. The most amazing thing is they had never had Americans there before. So we were on television and the whole thing sharing.
For the first time,
exactly.
American crew went to film this area and
exactly.
they're so happy about it.
Exactly, and the fact that it's more of an adventure kind of experience there because we have all the mountains and rivers and so forth. It's totally different, and history, of course, and also islands. But it's so special. Even Parga, you know, just all these wonderful places that we visited on this experience. It was just luscious. It was divine. It was the most amazing 16 days I've ever spent in my life, I must say.
And John, you know, I mean, for Greece is the motherhood of Western civilization. We repeat it again. It's so much history, so much civilization, so many things. And you remember the interview we did on the office when
Yes.
we have the great seminar,
Yes.
late 11.
Yes.
Late 11 after 2012, you went for your first trip. It combines, I don't know if we said that time, but there is no place in this earth which on the morning you can ski on the snow and the afternoon you can ski on the sea. The combination of the climate and the areas of our country, you can do it that in the same day. What an experience.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. And you know what I thought was also interesting, this particular time when I was in Greece, I was in Mykonos, and Mykonos was one of the places that back in 1966, a friend was going there to live. Yeah. And I always wanted to go to Mykonos, and it's always been in the back of my head, and I had an opportunity to go to Mykonos. I loved it, and Santorini, you know, and Patmos, and back to Rhodes and Athens, and it was just so amazing. And it was on a cruise. You can cruise going from one island to another.
And that is the well-known triangle of the Americans, like the Mykonos, Santorini, and Crete. And of course, we have so much, again, I can say the cruises, the classical tour, Rhodos, Corfu. But you see, and I don't know if we discussed that time, when great films happen, and they see your area, they invent new areas. And when we remember we filmed lately the Mamma Mia in Sporadic Islands, then Skiathos and Skopelos and
Became very popular.
Very popular again. You know, we started with Gannon Navarone, with Shirley Valentine, with Corelli's Mandolin, Zorba the Greek, you name it. I mean,
Lots of films. Lots of
histories.
films. Yeah.
And it's, you know, I mean, Greece has a big hug for the visitors. For that we have the word philoxenia, which doesn't exist in other vocabulary. It's the friend of the stranger.
Right.
That means they open their hug to welcome everybody, to open their doors in their homes. You had that kind of feeling when you did the
Oh, yes.
different villages and the islands.
Absolutely.
And immediately you can find a lot of information. And again, what I hear these days, Greece has record of tourist arrivals and many ports as you experienced lately of the cruises all over the country.
Right.
Before we had like the, you know, the Katakolon with the Olympia, Santorini, Crete, Rhodos, and Mykonos, and the Aegean through Patmos and the coastline of the Aegean. But now you have the new destination, Thessaloniki, I mean, Volos, Kavala. I mean, the cruises, they go all over.
How many islands are there in Greece?
You know, they say it's 2,000, but inhabited 117.
That's a lot.
Our country, you know, it's like the state of Alabama, but has a great coast.
And all
many
these
islands,
wonderful islands, yes.
Blue Sea. I mean, Greece awarded all the time with the blue flags. And I think so also the Greek National Tourist Board always does a nice promotion for our country.
Oh yeah, and the people are always partying. That's the great thing. In the evenings we went out, everybody's in Plaka in Athens, dining, having fun, laughing, enjoying themselves, and that's really what it's about, you know. It's really about sharing their culture with other people. The other thing is when you're in Athens, you have to see the new Acropolis Museum.
Which, as a matter of fact, this month we had the 7th anniversary.
Ah.
It was early June, was
beautiful.
inaugurated
Beautiful.
in 2009, I think so, the 9th, the 10th. And I remember we did one of the biggest press trips from around the world, taking the cultural writers to be on the, and of course personalities, country leaders, presidents, religious leaders, everybody was there for this inauguration, which, as a matter of fact, a great American architect with the Swiss descent, which you will go in a few days, Switzerland, was the creator who built the new Acropolis Museum.
Oh my
Mr.
God.
Tsumi, who is also a great professor in Columbia University here.
Which is fantastic. And from the Acropolis, you can see the Parthenon up on the hill, which I think is fantastic.
Not only that, but you see Athens and Greece combine all this civilization. If you have a coffee in the Plaka and you sit across the Acropolis, you will see
Yes.
Roman temples, Byzantine, Christianity, Orthodox, Catholics, synagogues, mosques. I mean, imagine you're in an area which is combine all the cultures and all the religions just with one
Street.
eye.
Yeah, one eye, one street.
You see all that. And of course, you know, soon we will have again the Olympics in Brazil, but you remember Greece hosted the 2004 Olympics.
Oh,
It's the motherhood of
Well, I was there for
athletics.
the marathon also, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, because you were exactly, I think so, the time of the 2,500 years anniversary of the classical marathon in Athens, Greece.
So the Marble Stadium,
Yeah.
which was fantastic.
Which is, took place the 1896
Right.
first Olympics.
And one of the
in-
things they have to see when they go to Athens is the changing of the gods, which they do every hour, on the hour, and it's just absolutely amazing. These guys, they're so regimented, they're really, you know, it's a pompous thing to see. It's wonderful.
Yes, it's a sightseeing in Athens, which also we have, like the example of New York. You take the bus and you see the whole city and the antiquities, you name it. And anybody who wants to inspire travel, you can go immediately to, you know, to the website,
And-
visit Greece.gr,
Right.
and you get all the information.
Exactly. I have a question, by the way. There's an area which is down that same street that the Parliament is, but it's going that way, passing all your friends with the jewelry shops all the way down. And these buildings look like from the past. They have Ionic capitals.
This
Is
is
that
the
University
gate,
Boulevard?
The
There's
gate
a
of
library in the
Andrea.
university.
That is the Panepistimiou Street, yes.
Is it the University Avenue?
They call it University Avenue. You are
okay.
absolutely right.
Right.
yeah.
And I had never seen that before, and I saw it on this trip, and I said, "Oh my God!" We did our closing there because I thought it was fantastic. Because you have the university, you have the library, and the whole thing.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And these days, in a few days, we have the inauguration. You remember before one of the beautiful American films was The Vision of Greece, which Niarchos Foundation was make it possible to see all these great movies. We have the inauguration close to the Phaleron area, which is immediately when you go down to Athens from Sigrou Avenue, the new library,
Yes.
another big library, and a new opera house.
Oh.
It's somehow like our Lincoln Center now in Athens. We'll be proud, and I hope on the future with the two great festivals of Athens and the Pidavros, which is during the summer, the visitors, they will have a great things to do, a great library, and also to have a new great opera house to hear great programs of opera in Athens.
Right. Which
Because
is,
you can combine. You remember, we become slowly our dream, like all year round destination
right. Exactly.
for anybody, for any ages, for any wallet, as we
Exactly.
call it. I mean,
It's
Greece
a-
has a lot to offer. Yeah.
Greece has a lot to offer, and I think that you know, it's a place that it took me many years to finally get to, but having been there, I feel so connected to not only the people, but to the history and to all the things that I've seen there. And it's a very special place in my heart, and I thank you for that. My world is your world, so remember, get up, get out, and travel!
Πάγλα μας και γίνε σαν παππού